the furthest limits of ignorance is not reached because of effortful thought, nor is it reached because of good deeds that one can perform. But only because of the mindless ecstasy that is set forth because of a vibrant One. In this mindless ecstasy, it takes you to the very boundaries of your ignorance. At the same time, it also reveals the bond that keeps you as a limited self. When I say ignorance, everything is just ignorance. What we call as knowledge is just ignorance. One can just move from one level of ignorance to another till he becomes willing enough to fall into the ultimate oblivion of a realized One. Ignorance means different things to different people. Once it happened, Tenali Ramakrishna. If you have not heard of him before, he was a very humorous bard in the court of a South Indian king who built a huge empire in this part of the world. Because he came from a village, Tenali, and his name was Ramakrishna, then generally he was known as Tenali Rama. Some time ago I met someone in Florida who came from the village Tenali, but he did not know that Ramakrishna came from Tenali. That would be a great insult for him, because Tenali Rama strived very hard to become the most humorous known poet of those days. So on a certain day, he was sitting in a group of people and discussing some philosophical matters. But there was one man who was just outside the circle who went on making irrelevant comments. After some time, he couldn't take it anymore. He said, "You are a fool, you are a good-for-nothing, and you are nothing." That man was stung by the insult. He said, "How can you say I am nothing?" Tenali Rama repeated, "Yes, you are nothing, you are really nothing." That man said, "How dare you say I am nothing? I am the town's cobbler." Tenali Ramakrishna picked up his footwear, tore it and threw it at him and said, "If you are really the cobbler, fix this and make it like new." That man immediately picked up the footwear and left to fix it. So ignorance is always in many different layers and boundaries. and somebody says you're nothing, if you're a cobbler, it's an insult. If you're truly into meditation, that would be the truth for you. Life continues to be a mystery. It's always been, always is, still is, it always will be. At different times, we have thought different things are mysterious. The borders of our ignorance may be enhanced over a period of time. These millions of years of human evolution on this planet, definitely our brains have grown, become more capable of intellectual processing and perception. With all this evolution, life has become only more mysterious, not less mysterious. Maybe 1,000 years ago, we did not know how this body functions. Now we have opened it, looked at it and done so many things with it. We know many things. The more and more we get to know about this, it is only becoming more and more mysterious, like never before. 1,000 years ago, if you looked up in the sky, I don't know if anybody has counted, but maybe I think there are 5,000–10,000 stars up there that you could see and count with your naked eye. Today we have powerful telescopes with which we have looked beyond this. Now we know there are billions of stars. It's only getting more mysterious and more complicated. As you enhance your perception, it will become more and more mysterious. Science is supposed to bring clarity to your life. But today, modern physics is creating more confusion and more mysterious. It sounds more mysterious than mysticism. The mumbo-jumbo of mysticism sounds reasonable compared to what the modern physics is talking about today. An Einstein sounds much more unreasonable than a Harry Potter. Really. Because they are talking in totally mysterious ways. And as our perception and so-called knowledge increases, life is becoming only more and more mysterious. So all that we are doing is pushing the borders of our ignorance, making it larger and larger. It is different things for different people. Here, for example, if you close your eyes, for some people it's just darkness. For some people it's light. For some, it's a nightmare. For some, they're becoming sweetly ecstatic. For some, their energies are on chili powder. For some, they're just hurtling through with their eyeballs rolled up, they don't know where, into a bottomless pit. So, the mystery endures and will continue to. Today, modern science is saying this is an ever-expanding universe. If it's ever-expanding into what? If you have to expand, you need some space to expand. If it's ever expanding, where is it going to expand? What is it going to expand into? So it is a continuous mystery. Unless you become an absolute void by yourself, you don't know the depth of your ignorance. So enlightenment is not a knowing. Enlightenment is touching a borderless ignorance. Everybody's ignorance has a border. An enlightened being's ignorance is borderless, it's boundless. When life happens in limited ways, everything seems to be clear. When things beyond your limitations begin to happen, nothing is clear anymore. Those of you who've been on the path, a path, the word path is a deception because a path is supposed to take you somewhere, but you're only getting more and more lost. Yes. You're only getting more and more lost, maybe a little joyfully lost, but lost. If you get completely lost, and when you see there's no hope of getting anywhere, that's it. It's only because you're trying to get somewhere you can be lost. When you realize that you're absolutely lost, hopelessly lost, when all hope of finding something is gone, then you're just fine. So, if your ignorance crosses all boundaries, when you become utterly ignorant means you have become empty. Emptiness is ignorance. The ultimate ignorance is Shiva. That which is not is ignorance. That which is some kind of knowing. So, as long as one is in pursuit of something or the other, it's an endless process. As long as we are getting identified and attached to different situations into which we get into, however beautiful the situation may be, the moment you think this is it, you are trying to freeze yourself into a certain state of ignorance. When you realize that every peak is only a launch pad for the next peak, and the next peak is not the goal or the destination, the only thing that can be destination is an ultimate oblivion. That sounds very negative and uninspiring for anybody. Absolutely uninspiring. Not a destination that anybody would want to seek. People would like to go to heaven. People would like to sit in sweet places, sit in God's lap, do pleasant things. If life gets too sweet, you may die a diabetic. to have the awareness, to know that we are only moving from one form of ignorance to another. It's the greatest blessing that one can start with right now. Once there was a yogi who sat in a temple yard and did his own things. There were moments when he was godlike. Then people gathered and started worshipping him. Next moment he would be like a madman. Then people went away thinking they made a mistake. Like this he was alternating between one thing and another all the time. One particular householder who was a regular to the temple got drawn to this yogi, and he saw the yogi, if nobody served him, did not eat for many days. So he took it upon himself. Every day he cooked food and brought it for the yogi. Until he ate, he sat there. He himself not eating, he sat there, and what was left over, he ate. He made this his life, and he made this his mission. The yogi sometimes ate in the morning, sometimes ate in the afternoon, sometimes in the evening, sometimes the next morning. You never know when he eats. But this man dedicated himself to this one task, cooking food, bringing it for him. Till he eats, he doesn't eat. He waited and waited. This went on for some time, a few years. Then one day, yogi took a certain fondness to this man, and one day he said, "You don't bother. Today, from tomorrow, I will come to your house. You don't bother to come, I will come to your house. You cook the food and be ready, I will come to your home and eat it there." The man said, "Okay." Went home, next day he prepared food and waited. He was sitting and waiting, yogi did not turn up. Then a dog was bothering him, a dog was trying to smell the food and go near the food. So he chased it away many times, but he kept coming. So he took a stick and gave a nice beating to the dog. Then the dog moved away, stood back, and tears appeared in its eyes, and then went away. Then till evening he waited, the yogi did not come. Then he went to the temple. The yogi was just sitting there, tears were flowing in his eyes. The man was disturbed. He said, "You said you will come home, and I waited and waited, and why the tears? You said you will come, that's why I waited, otherwise I would have come." The yogi said, "I came many times to your house. To be exact, 12 times I tried to enter your house. You abused me, you chased me, then you beat me up. So here I am." Then the man realized that dog actually tried to enter the house 12 times. So a master need not always come in the form